a rare condition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. And love and tradition of the grand design, some people say, is even harder to find.
Well, welcome everybody to another episode of All Things Real Estate. We are deep into season 2. Interesting time in the real estate market, although it's always an interesting time here, right?
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
And like Mark just mentioned, I'm really excited about our first ever live stream podcast.
Yep.
Coming up on April 6th at Double D's in Los Gatos. You guys are welcome to come by. Anybody that comes by.
Is it 3 to 4? 3 to 4? What's our timing on that?
I
don't know. Take a look at it.
Yeah, we'll put it on screen.
We'll put it out there.
But if anybody wants to come by, Mark will buy you a beer.
with David's credit card.
Yeah, it's a team credit card. So
Absolutely.
Hey, as long as I get the points.
There we go.
But no, seriously, I mean, you know, we're gonna take our show on the road. We're not really opening it up to an audience per se, but if there are questions, you know, call, text. We're gonna stream live, so Facebook Live, Instagram Live, YouTube Live, and so hopefully we won't curse too much.
Unfiltered.
There will be a warning.
Yep. And, you know, we won't drink too much, but we just thought it'd be a good opportunity to get out there, change the scenery, and, you know, we're getting some good traction with our podcast. I mean,
it's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
cool.
exciting.
Cool.
You know, it's so funny to each time we come here to actually sit and think that people listen to what we say. So, you know, it's flattering, it's encouraging, and it, you know, keeps us here to keep doing these week in and week out. So looking forward to that in April. We'll put the information on the screen and come out and join us if you can.
Absolutely.
So, Mark, I'll let you jump in today. I'm not doing a market minute because the market's pretty flat. I mean, we are seeing some more come on.
You know, we just finished up our Meg Agent Mastermind, which is, you know, our top producers within the company. We got about 35 of us, and it was really interesting to just hear the conversation of where the market's at, where it's going. And again, it just goes back to that supply and demand.
Absolutely.
I mean, we can talk about the banks and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, you know, when we only have, as of today, I think 580 homes on the market, single family homes, 580 homes, where you got 700,000 housing units out there. You have 14,000 licensed agents. You've got 2 million plus in population. It's simple supply and demand. And there's plenty of demand still for our area. We're not seeing on the high end where people are, you know, really concerned about the banking issue and stuff. I mean, how many calls did we have on Friday about, you know, I actually was interviewed. Somebody was calling on Friday going, how's the housing market? What's going on with you guys? It's like, well, wait a minute, that news just came out with SVB yesterday. So, you know, no, we haven't seen it impact us.
No, and if anything, it was good for interest rates.
Yeah, 100%. It was interesting, too, to go around that room, though, and everybody has listings coming on, right? But again, I sit there and say, well, you know, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden we're going to go from 580 homes on the market to 3,500, which would be needed to really start seeing a decrease in valuation.
No chance.
As you pointed out last week or last time on our last podcast, it's the first time that we've actually had active listings match pending listings, which is a 30-day supply.
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
And I mean, again, property last week on Crichton in Santa Clara. I toured James and his wife. 43 offers on that house. 43 offers for an average home in Santa Clara.
Yeah.
So, I keep saying it too. Santa Clara is probably the only place I think besides Los Gatos that holds their price per square foot very high. $1,400 a square foot or above for all homes.
Well, but once you said that's for Santa Clara, but once you say that's kind of, I mean, if we go to Cupertino, if we go to Mountain View, Sunnyvale, I mean, you kind of
Santa Clara's held it.
Right?
I haven't seen a correction in Santa Clara. For as much as I keep going there with buyers, that price point between 1.2 and 1.6 is such a struggle.
Well, and that's what we've been saying the whole time. When you hear a 25% reduction in value in Santa Clara County, you know, that's a very generalized scenario, right? And yet when you break it down to the micro neighborhoods and areas that we have, we're not seeing that everywhere at all.
No, it's more like 10%. And you know what? Whoop-de-doo, a $2 million house went to 1.8.
So, David, you just said it. From that meeting that we just came from, we were talking about from the height in March of 2022, really where do we sit today? Because we've gone down and we're up, and that was exactly the number. It was 10%, basically, is where we're off. But again, that's general, right?
Exactly.
Again, that house on Crichton, I mean, what would have that house sold for back in March of 2022? The same number, or maybe a little less?
No, well, maybe a little bit more at the peak, but not by much.
Right.
Maybe 3 to 5% more.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, in a lot of areas, we are almost back
Yeah.
to those peak levels of March of 2022.
And I received a Facebook comment the other day because we post all of our sales online and stuff, and it was the recent Linda property that went from 2.8 to 3.3.
Right.
And we got a comment on one of the Facebook posts. Again, congratulations, super happy for you guys, but I'm still having a hard time understanding how our generation is going to get into this market. And it's the same thing I said to them on Facebook. We don't expect first-time home buyers to jump into, and again, depending on the amount of money you have, but we don't expect first-time home buyers to jump into these markets or guide them to jump into these markets like Los Gatos, where inventory is obsolete, and people who are going after the limited inventory have probably gotten beaten down by the market so many times already that they're willing to spend the premium just to lock something in.
Yeah, but they can start somewhere.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
would
You gotta start
encourage, our
small,
conversation
not-
earlier today was, listen, I mean, the sooner any buyer gets into the market, the better for them long term.
Yep.
So yes, you might not be able to afford Los Gatos, but guess what? You can probably find a decent condo or townhome in Campbell
Yep.
or Cambrian, right? That 5 years from now, you'll be able to sell at a 50% profit, and
Sure.
then you can move into Los Gatos.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I have great news for first-time home buyers. No, really, this is probably
I know what you're talking about.
we
This is
talk
awesome.
we talk about down payment assistance programs throughout the years. They're all kind of
This is almost like a lottery win, man.
Man, this one's really good. So Cal HFA
Yep.
is doing, so for California is doing a Dreams for All program.
Right.
So they're rolling it out March 27th, so less than a week away.
Yep.
They are giving you 20% down to put on a house. Now you can use some of that money towards closing costs, but let's stick with that 20% down scenario and why it makes so much sense. As long as you keep your loan under conforming, which is $1,083,000 in our market, right? So you can buy a house for $1.2 million, condo townhouse, $1.2 million. Cal HFA will give you 20% down. There is no interest on that loan, right? So basically, you get a first loan at 80%, which means no mortgage insurance. So you get that second loan; it just sits there. And you don't have to make any payments on that until you either refinance,
Right.
sell the home, refinance, sell, or you pay off the first
So
mortgage.
you got to pay it back.
Well, but
don't
it's
get it.
hold on, but
No.
it's an equity share.
It is an equity
Right,
share.
they're buying 20% of the property, so it's not necessarily a loan. They're actually going in with you as a co-buyer, or I don't think that's how the loan structured
Right.
itself.
Yeah.
But the 20,000 or the 20% down is they're buying that 20% equity in your property.
Absolutely. So in 5 years, if you make $200,000 in equity, they're going to get approximately 20% of that, or $40K.
So I understand qualifications. That's up to $300,000 in income, right?
Yeah, so-
$300,000 in income.
Yeah, and that's the other great part about this
Right.
program is normally it's like 80% of median area
Now,
income.
what I was surprised about that, does the buyer have to be vested at all in that property? So the full 20% down, does the buyer have to come to the table with any additional money?
No, this is a true 100% financing
Financing
program.
deal.
You could even get seller credits to cover your closing costs, so you don't come in with a single penny.
So
Like-
you could purchase a home without putting a single dollar down, and all you have to worry about is paying on their 20% when you sell.
I would say
Absolutely.
that's the first time in history, right? Because
First time in history.
You used to have to at least do 3.5%.
Correct.
Right?
So first time in history up to that loan amount, right? So you just have to have a first mortgage that does not exceed $1,083,000. You can make up to $300,000 in income, and that's just for the people that are on the loan.
Right.
So if you've got husband and wife and I don't know an 20-year-old kid that's contributing as well, but they're not on the loan, it's not household income. It's just the people on the loan.
Right.
And
Interesting.
then the other thing that they're thinking about, because they haven't finalized all the terms, because originally they said if you refinance, you got to pay it back.
Okay.
However, what they are looking at incorporating into the guidelines is if rates drop significantly, they'll allow you to do a one-time refinance without
paying it back.
Yeah, without paying it back, right? Because what happens in 2
right.
years when rates are at threes,
Right.
you want to be able to refinance, take advantage, but still keep that second lien in place.
So I think several things. One, that shows their confidence in the projection of where this market's going.
Absolutely.
I mean, if they're right, is there?
How many people are going to apply for this?
Well, okay, that's where I was just kind of getting at. I'm assuming there's a certain amount of money that's been set aside to fund this.
There
when
is.
those funds are gone.
Yeah, it's quite a bit though. It's in the hundreds of millions that they've allocated towards
Okay.
this, right? And then they know in 3 to 5 years or 7 years when people start to sell,
Right.
they're going to have more money to redistribute back into the program.
Right.
So incredible. Like
That's
you said,
awesome.
I mean, the best program that I've seen for down payment assistance since I've been around.
Do you have to be a first-time home buyer?
Yes.
You have to be a first-time
And it's a owner-occupied, first-time home buyer, and it can be a single-family home, condo, or townhome.
Out of the whole thing there, I'm shocked that there's no vesting or no
That's
money
what
that
I'm
the
saying.
buyer has to bring to the table.
Yeah, no skin in the game.
There's
There's no security.
crazy.
They just have to show that they make $300K or less than $300K.
Oh, there's-
Yeah, you have to qualify. So you have debt-to-income ratio,
Yeah.
credit score. They're still
Is-
finalizing credit score.
Who's writing the first? Is
You can get the first through anybody. They just have to be willing to accept that 20%
yeah.
second.
So that's
right?
where I'm wondering if the banks might have an issue with that, right? 'Cause
They're-
generally, the banks want to see that buyer somehow vested in that property, right?
And this is the other thing. Say your buyer has 10% that they were going to put
I
down.
was just going to ask you that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you have a regular buyer, they're putting 10% down, but they're still stuck with mortgage insurance, maybe a slightly higher rate. They can apply for this and still get the 20%, so that they're in it 10%, HFA is in it 20%, and then your lender's in it for the balance. And then you get no MI,
Yeah.
and you get a better interest rate because your loan to value on your first is 70%.
And you're
or
giving
less.
up 20% of the existing equity and future equity as well, because you're basically partners in this.
Yeah, so they get their money back,
Right.
plus 20% of the equity. You get your if you didn't put any money down, you would get your principal reduction, right? That
Right.
equity piece
Right.
you'd get plus
Right.
20% of the net, or 80% of the net equity.
So again, the buyers have to be cautious though, because they're gonna obviously approve them based on how much money they're making to afford that mortgage a month.
yeah, of course.
So
You gotta
I mean,
qualify.
yeah,
Right,
just like
sure.
they qualify for
Yeah,
a
so
regular
if
loan.
they go into, and again, this is phenomenal that you're even able to do it, but if you go into a condo, let's say, and it doesn't appreciate that much,
So what? So then
But it'll appreciate. I mean,
yeah.
it's still 20% is all they
20%,
get back. And it's even less. They'll take less than 20% equity depending on your income.
okay.
So yeah, so really interesting stuff.
It'll be interesting to see those requirements, to see if there's timeline requirements. I understand there's no prepayment. You can,
Right.
you can buy them out anytime you want.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's like when we used to do equity shares, we had a five-year horizon on it, right? So I'm wondering if they have.
They said you can keep it 30 years,
15, 20 years,
pay off your first mortgage, and then you have to pay it off. The other thing I think is going to be interesting. You were talking about, well, how is the lender in first position going to react to that
Right,
second?
right.
But it's essentially a silent second because there's no payments, so it doesn't count against your debt to income
Uncle
ratio.
Newsom, man, you know.
Dude, it's incredible. So
we all got a rich uncle now.
yeah, right.
He's gonna gift us some money.
Yeah, so we'll talk more about it once they roll it out and they've firmed
Awesome.
up the guidelines. But I really think for a lot of people, those first-time home buyers, condos, townhomes, great opportunity. And switching gears, I've got one more great loan program. If you are a doctor, chiropractor, physician's assistant, podiatrist, did I say veterinarian? Even a veterinarian, dude. There is a bank out there located in Santa Clara County. They will also do up to 100% financing, up to $2 million, and below market interest rates.
Is that crazy?
So if you are a veterinarian, dentist, doctor, registered nurse, they will lend you up to $2 million, up to 100% financing. Their best product right now is the 5-year ARM. It's at 5.375%.
That's crazy.
And no mortgage insurance.
Wow.
No mortgage insurance. It's a portfolio product. So if you are a doctor, you know a doctor. If you're a vet, you know a vet. I mean, nurse, it doesn't matter. You can buy a house right now up to $2 million in Santa Clara County. No mortgage insurance, no money out of your pocket, and interest rates in the 5s.
and how do you apply for that? How much, like,
Call us.
You call me.
That's right.
crazy?
Yeah, I'm not going to give all the good
That's
stuff,
right.
but
All things
yeah,
real estate, man.
Yeah, no,
Badass.
that those two programs alone, obviously there's not a ton of inventory to choose from. You'll be competing against
Right.
other buyers, but the more if you have agents on your side that are educated about the programs that are out there,
Right.
then we can educate the listing agents when we bring that that buyer to
100%.
the table. We are going to get more deals done because now people that thought they couldn't buy a home
Right.
are now in the market.
100%. Yeah, without a doubt. I want to switch gears a little bit here, and I want to talk about, for sellers, what are we doing for seller prep in today's market? We've got a property that was thrown at us where literally we walked in and the ceilings collapsed.
Yeah.
And the clients coming to us saying, okay, guys, I got the money. Tell me what to do. Do we put $1 million into this thing and
Right.
totally take advantage of putting a second story on it and everything? Do we do just a remodel of the existing? Or do we just minimize the investment and sell it, or sell it as is?
Yeah.
Right. So what is your conversation with the seller in that capacity?
Well, when we have sellers that want to do significant remodels, then we educate them on the timeline to get it done.
Right.
I mean, if they're looking to add, more than 400 square feet or add a second story, you're talking about a year and a half, and you have to look at what that neighborhood maxes out at because you could be overbuilding for that neighborhood. And then you're risking time. We don't know what the market's going to look like in 2 years.
And that's the key, right? I know you and I talked about this with this specific property. I mean, one, it sits on a corner. It's right across here from a park with a huge transformer tower in it. So it's got a major distraction on it, right?
Yep.
So to go through and take, right now, I think that house is a $1.5 million home, right? So, and the neighborhood probably taps out $2.5 to $3 million. So if you're going to do $1 million, no, that doesn't make any sense. Plus the 12 to 18 months you got to wait to do it.
Yep.
Do a $500,000 remodel, which would probably turn into $600,000 or $700,000 to remodel it. Well, that's going to take you 8 months to 12 months to do.
Yeah.
Or you just, take the money and run, clean it up. I mean, what I'm looking at right now is what is to mitigate the amount of money that we need to invest in the property to maximize our ROI in the quickest amount of time possible. Right. Like even when it comes down to refinishing hardwood floors, I'd rather, if they're a little distressed, that's cool. Distressed hardwood floors, they look good, instead of waiting the 2 weeks that it would take to refinish it. Because in today's market, I believe timing's critical right now.
Yeah, no, good point. I would rather anybody that's saying, I'm going to wait till June to put my house on the market, you're probably going to lose out on $50,000 to $100,000 because what we know every year in June the market slows down. Right now, market's super hot. So the sooner you get it on, the better.
Do you believe that buyers want, in today's market, the majority of buyers want that turnkey property, or do they want the blank canvas property for them to do what they want to do?
I think they want either one of those, but not the property in the middle, which is just kind of not fixed up at all or not completely cleared out, right? We know the two properties, in a market like this, the two property types that sell the fastest are the turnkey ones, or the ones that are just a blank slate that somebody can go in and do what they want. That is the
exact answer that we talked about today at our mastermind. Was like, you know what, if you're at the top of the market, ready to go, that's awesome. Or if you're the greatest deal as is, but if you're in the middle trying to play that game, those are the properties that are sitting there.
Yep, and that's why when you hire a real estate agent and they say, don't worry about staging, don't worry about decluttering, don't worry about, updating the landscaping and giving it curb appeal, like run from those guys.
I was in a listing appointment yesterday and I was explaining to the seller about how the average agent spends about $750 in prepping a property and getting it ready.
$750?
$750 is what the average is.
Plus that right now.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, right. Los Altos, there you go. No, but it's true. I mean, our average is around $6,500 to $7,000 for every single property we list. To that point, because we use a shotgun effect. We go everywhere. We don't know where the buyer's going to come from. Right. So, where other agents, well, let's hold back on newspaper advertising. Who does that anymore? Or the just listed cards or staging, whatever it is. The problem is they're going to put a small budget on it, and they're going to sit there a week or 2 weeks. It's not selling. Then they're going to start playing catch up with all their marketing and everything, right? Yep. Where you got to hit it at that front door to make it happen.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. You have to make a big splash from day one. Because after that, like you said, you're playing catch up, and then the longer the property sits, buyers are smart.
Yep.
They'll sense that it's stale, and you'll never get the offer that you could have gotten.
They do inspections, take care of distractional issues, all that good stuff. So I do, is this interesting or not? I think it is. We've had the biggest loss of $1 million cities. For one, I think we have the highest amount of $1 million cities in the nation, right?
Oh,
but over the last year, this is nationwide.
Oh, okay.
The U.S. has lost $58 million cities. $1 million being the average price of a property.
Oh, okay. So prices have dropped below $1 million
since the market's peak in July.
Okay.
California is actually leading that because we had 210. Now we have 190. Which is still the state that has the highest amount of cities in it that the average price is over $1 million. Sure. But some of the other cities had, like New York, they went from 66 to 64. I guess I point this out. 58 may sound a lot, but that's 58 nationwide. So we worry about this decline in the market and everything. The reality is, I think nationwide we still have a housing shortage that's keeping those values up.
Absolutely. Nationwide, we're at historic lows. We are seeing inventory increase in a lot of the Midwest, places or places that ran really up on speculation, or a lot of the places where Californians went to, right?
Yep.
Salt Lake, Austin, Boise, those places, they have to cool down a little bit.
Without a doubt.
But our market is typically protected from most of that nationwide nonsense, and we're seeing it in values coming back up, even though interest rates are double what they were a year ago.
Without a doubt.
Which brings me to a point that I have here in my Mustache Minute. I haven't been on for a while, so people are missing this Mustache Minute. One mistake that I'm seeing buyers make right now.
What do you do with the handlebars, man? You get those
handlebars? You want it to go all the way down? Or do you want it to Raleigh?
Roll.
There you go.
Let it roll.
One mistake I'm seeing buyers make in this market right now, paralysis by analysis. So I see...
I thought you were going to say like they choose the wrong agent.
Checks out. We're seeing, again, low inventory, property prices starting to creep up more. I don't think buyers have enough time to analyze these properties the way they want to. Everyone's looking for that perfect 10 out of 10. I tell my buyers, make your unique list of the needs that you want.
Yep.
Let's say you have a list of 10. Expect 6 or 7 of
100%.
Well, yeah, that's what I tell them too. I'm all, is your spouse a 10 out of 10?
Mine is. What are you talking about?
Present company excluded.
Wow, what are you talking about?
No, but the reality is when you're looking for a partner, you've got your list. These are the 10 things that I would love to have. You can't have it all. Yeah, but if you can hit 7 or 8, get a solid one.
You just put your foot in your mouth on that one.
No, my wife's a 10, but I got lucky. We're in sales.
No, and you know what? And that doesn't matter the price point.
Yeah.
You could be at a $10 million price point.
Yeah.
You're never going to get all 10 of those little checkboxes.
Well, I mean, even if you do think that is the perfect home out there, there's going to be other buyers in our market who are thinking the same thing. So unless you have this unlimited budget to just go out and overprice someone and pay that premium, be comfortable in the home. The move right now for a first-time home buyer should be to find a home that you're comfortable in, expect and enjoy the 7 items on your checklist, watch the market appreciate. When you get that equity, then go, even if it's there, it's not there. You can then go and try to find that perfect 10.
Yeah, open
up the budget a little bit.
What Mark just said is actually what I tell most of my buyers, regardless of the price range. I say, look, even if you're to buy a $10 million house, it still wouldn't hit every single thing you want. You'd still want to put money in, make some changes. I mean, so find out your core, what are your must-haves, and let's go find that.
And that's generally with a first home buyer, it's like you can never get a 1-bedroom. Right, get at least a 2-bedroom to expand with yourself. Townhome over a single-family home. And if you can afford the single-family home, get the single-family home.
Yep.
Really looking at those appreciation opportunities. Try to avoid the busy streets, backing up to a freeway, unless we have to, and the price is right.
Well, and then I tell people too, like, well, what is your lifestyle?
Yeah. Right.
Do you like to spend time in a backyard, or are you working all the time and you just want, or do you like to cook? And do you have a lot of family, right? And so it's that lifestyle.
Just narrow down what those priorities are. Make your top 5 priorities, right?
And again, it's like you said, it just circles right back around to the agent. A lot of the times in this market, an eager agent or a young agent doesn't know how to educate their clients or tell them 100%. No. Like, be real with them. If it's not going to work and the price point is not able to, if you are pre-approved and this is not the market for you, you have to switch and you have to go somewhere else. Like, there's other ways in this market that I think you can do it. And I think agents try and cupcake too many items. And they end up putting their buyers through this long, windy road where there's no light at the end of the tunnel.
But conversely, how many offers have we seen on our listings where our agent doesn't know what they're doing and they go way over everybody else, right? Because they've given bad advice to their, we get 10 offers and they're all within 1.3 range, and then somebody comes in at 1.7.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, it's just they do a disservice to the buyers.
And I'll guarantee that agent probably never called us up.
Well, I was just going to say, that's the communication issue.
Yep.
If they can't, and again, they can't communicate. Some agents can't communicate well with a buyer or seller. Other agents can't communicate well with other agents. And that is the main. I tell my buyers all the time, if I'm able to provide you information from the horse's mouth, take that information. Don't try and argue it or try and reroute. This is the answer. We are getting the information from the person selling the home. If you want the house, follow the exact way that we need to do this. Everyone feels like, I'm a realtor. Like, no, you're hiring
it's the whole thing. Who you work with matters, right? I mean, because it's our whole industry. You look at mortgage brokers, right? I mean, a good mortgage broker is going to take into account everything that you can afford and where you're at. Not necessarily max you out for their benefits and making their origination points and everything, but to really sit down and say, here's where you can get qualified for. Let's talk about what's really your comfort level in affordability.
And if that means having to compromise on the size of the home or the location, if you need a home, you might have to compromise on that. We said this in a podcast a year ago. When the market was hot, we were making our sphere, our friend group, more money in the townhome they were living in than their actual jobs they were having in the year.
Of course.
Like, there are ways in this market to take advantage and really create a foundation, a stepping stone to your next property.
You got to realize it's a marathon, though.
Yeah,
it's always a marathon, right? And today buyers are sitting there all the time. Oh, am I overpaying this and that? Listen, it's not going to be a great deal today. It'll be a great deal 5 to 7 years.
California is a perfect place to say that it's a marathon. It's the only area where we can continuously, even throughout a correction, appreciate year after year.
Unless, there are areas in California that don't. But
Okay, we can go
the Bay Area.
The Bay Area.
Yeah, we're golden. We're golden.
Yeah.
All right, where's Aaron today?
Daddy duties.
Daddy
Both of them
duty,
are on
man.
daddy duties.
There we go.
Yep. And Jeet's not feeling well.
There you go. I was going to say both of them. I didn't know Jeet had kids. All those things we find out about people.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the more you know.
All right, cool. So we've got a lot of stuff going on.
So before we wrap, so we've got, by the time this comes out, we will have completed our John Wick 4 movie night.
Yep.
But what I'm excited about is May, because we're doing our casino night. For any of our clients that missed out last year, you do not want to miss out this year. Casino night is a blast. You play with house money. Yep. We had 7 different games going on, from roulette to craps to blackjack.
Well, and the prizes and stuff we're throwing out.
Jackpot prize. You can come and hang out with Mark and
Tahoe and his cruising around.
Yep.
There you go.
No, but in all seriousness, I mean, we continue to have great client appreciation events beyond May as well.
Well, and also in April, we're hosting the wine walk in Los Gatos, where the wine glass sponsors.
Thanks for letting us know.
I just did.
So you guys heard
it
here first. But we always sponsor great events. Love to have you guys participate. And as always, our market is constantly changing. Who you work with matters. And if there is somebody that needs to hear what we're talking about, reach out to us right away. We'd love to talk to them. That's it. Stay dry.
See you.